Relationship. Relationship are fundamental to our life, enabling us to accomplish much more than we could do as individuals. However, developing this relationship requires trust and time in order to understand the nature of the type of relationship we are engaged with. Why developing this relationship why this relationship can be a great source of support to strength and happiness, fulfillment in life, they can also be challenging. This is the reason why it is essential to evaluate and nurture the type of relationship we initiate or we allow ourselves to engage in. Today, we are talking about the importance of relationship. If you are a returning viewer, I would like to say thank you for coming. Welcome. And if this is your first time here, I'd like to say it is a blessing to have you. Just hit the subscription button. This is how you encourage us to be able to develop this channel and bring more video to you that are very helpful. I'm Samuel, and let's get into the topic. Today we will be looking at trust in relationship. The importance of trust, how to evaluate trust if they appear to exist, because most of the time they don't exist. How can we build them if we are on the side of trying to engage ourselves in building this relationship? These are some of the keys that we will look at. And why is this topic so essential? I've just highlighted the reason why you need trust in the relationship. Building trust can be the same as trying to gather money, currency. Because in as much as trust cannot be offered or cannot be attained, but rather it can be developed over time, it's the same way as currency or the money that we use cannot just be given to us, but rather it must be accumulated over time. So what is trust? And how can we build trust? Well, trust is as the same as the credibility of reliance, especially in relationship. One of the greatest pillars that we need to establish a lasting relationship is trust. If you are joining us for the first time, we say just hit the subscription button. Today we are talking about trust in relationship. And some of the key things that we will be looking at, we'll be looking at how to build trust, how to evaluate trust, if they appear to exist, because most of the time trust don't exist, because we have to build it. And we will be looking at why is trust so important to relationship. My name is Samuel, and you're welcome. We say trust is compared to currency when it comes to relationship, because the same way currency cannot be given to people just anyhow, they have to build or create an effort towards it. It is the same way trust cannot be attained, it must be earned. Trust is same compared to currency in the sense that you can build it over 50 years and you can lose it just within 50 seconds. So you see how trust is important. But why is it that most of the time, relationship, we struggle with the issue of trust? This is why the thumbnail you saw, it says, test over time is equal to trust. So why we suffer so much trust issue in relationship? Number one, for you to trust people, you must consider these principles. Test over time is equal to trust. The key to evaluating trust is test. The key to building trust is time. Just because you spend so much time with a person doesn't guarantee that you can trust the person. And this is why we get it wrong in relationship. Because we get acquainted with people, we claim, we assume to know them. So usually we don't suffer from the issue of trust. We suffer from the issue of distrust that has appeared in a form of assumption. We assume to know people when we don't know them. And based on our assumption, we go ahead to invite them into our life and we give them the leverage in the name of we trust them. And by the time we get to know them deeply, they are not who we claim or who we thought they were. Now, there are levels of knowing people. The first stage is acquaintance. Just being acquainted with somebody doesn't make you to know them. And most of the time, when we are acquainted with people, we claim to know them. When you get acquainted with people, the next level of knowing is what we call proximity. Proximity is the ability of two people being connected to an extent that there seems to be an inner or exterior motives. This level does not give you the guarantee to trust the person because you are just in phase 2 of knowing the person. So we also said testing is very essential for trust in relationship. So why is it that most of the time we fall in the trap of claiming to know people, and in the end we suffer in an era of distrust? Because most of the time what we claim to be trust is not trust, or what we claim to be known people is not knowing people, is assumption. So we suffer from the era of assumption, and assumption can lead to expectation, and expectation leads to disappointment. When you assume to know people without having to give them time, you will put your trust in them. And over time, when you get to know the true character of the person, you get disappointed. So how do we figure out the person from their inner depths? First of all, I want you to understand that every person has, every one of us is wearing a mask. The word we use as persona or personality comes from the Greek word hypo or hypocrite. So that means everybody is wearing a mask. And what do we usually fall in love with is the personality of people. So when you fall in love with a person's personality, it is not enough for you to stop there. It is not enough for you to trust them. When you fall in love, or you get acquainted, or you get attracted by the personality of a person, the next thing you need to do is to dig deep beyond the personality or the marks that the person is wearing. And this is where time comes in. This is where test comes in. Remember, we said test over time is equal to trust. So if you don't give the person time, you are going to trust them. If you don't test the person, you are going to trust them. And what happens when you trust a person beyond the level of test? Assumption is established. And what does assumption do? It creates anticipation and expectation. And when you expect beyond the level of test, you will be disappointed. So most of the time when we meet people, because we are anticipated, we don't give them time, or we don't create the time to study the person. And we open our heart to them, claiming to know who they are. Because every one of us, usually, we appear to present what is called first impression. In psychology, it's called halo effect. Halo effect is the content appearing, or the container appearing to be different from the content. And usually we fall in love with the container of people. So the principle of test over time enable us to know the true nature of people, because the nature of people cannot truly change, but their persona or their personality can change, because personality is just a garment that people wear over their true nature. So when the relationship begins, we are in love with the personality, which the personality is different from the character, the true character of the person's personality. So what will help us to differentiate between what this person claimed to be and their true nature is to give them time. Because people don't really change. People are always who they are. The only thing that can reveal that nature is by giving them time. Time will enable us to know the nature of this person and their true character. Number two things that will enable us to know the nature of the person and their true character is by putting on test. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a difference between test and temptation. Don't mix test with temptation, because test is the search for upliftment, the ability of a person and their true nature. Test seek out for the strength of a person, while temptation seek out for the limitation of a person. So do you see the difference? Test is for the search of strength. Limitation is not in the case. Temptation, on the other end, is pushing a person towards their limit, is pushing them to walk on the line of their limitation. So, test is for the search of the ability of a person to match the criteria that you search for. But most of the time, because we are in the stage of assumption, we don't allow ourselves to assess the nature or the character of these people that comes into our life claiming to be who they are not. And I just told you that every one of us, we are wearing a mask, which is called personality. The word personality comes from the word persona, and the word persona comes from the word hypo, from where we get the word hypocrite. So literally every one of us, our first facial value is called hypocritical. But behind the veil, the true nature of the person lies. Anybody can appear to you and claim to be who they are not, but give them time and test them. Time will prove the nature of people. This is the reason why when a relationship starts, everything seems to be okay. But with time, the reality begins to unfold. And as the reality begins to unfold, we get to understand that this is not the type of person I should have fallen in love with. But by then, it is too late, because we are emotionally vulnerable to this person already. Our mind, our heart has been open, and we have gone into investing probably into them to a certain degree that we cannot just back up, or we may be emotionally attached to the person without having gone through the necessary scrutiny to understand that this is not the type of relationship I wanted. But the good news is, it's not too late. Are you in a relationship? Are you trying to establish one? Or are you on a breakup? You can realignment and reproject the way you handle that relationship or the new one that you might be going through. Every phase of relationship can be amended provided you want to. So the key to understand the nature of people is test over time. Why is it that test over time? Because just testing the person today doesn't mean that they have meet the criteria that you want them or you want to settle for. But as time goes on, the reality begins to unfold, because there is nothing that can combat with time. There are two things that are constant in life: change and time. And the way we manage these things determines our future. The way we manage these things in relationship determines the emotional level and the attachment that we create. Time and change will always occur in a relationship. So when you meet people for the first time, give them time and offer them tests. Now let me tell you a wonderful story before I will wrap up. The two creatures that God identified himself with are the eagle and the lion. But I want us to talk about the eagle. What is so special about the eagle when it comes to relationship establishment? Now the eagle have a characteristic that everyone could learn from, especially the female. When the male eagle is about to toast a female eagle, or when the process is going on, the female eagle don't just open up into a relationship with the male eagle. This is what a female eagle does. The female eagle will soar high in the atmosphere, and the male eagle will follow. in the pursuit of a relationship. So this is what a female eagle will do. The female eagle will pick a stick from the ground and soar high into the air and release it to fall on the ground. And in the process, to observe if the male eagle will allow the stick to fall or the male eagle will soar and bring back the stick. And this will continue over and again. She will pick it up and soar into the air and leave it, and the male eagle will soar down, receive it, and take it back up. These are all the process of tests that the female eagle put on to assess the strength mentally, emotionally, and the ability to be responsible if she must establish relationship with this male eagle. So if you are a female, if a gentleman approaches you and is trying to pursue you for a relationship, you have all right to put on tests. And this test can be mentally, this test can be emotionally, this test can be in every dimension, because you are going to open up and be more vulnerable to this person when you establish a relationship with. So by allowing yourself to go into a relationship, having not tested the person to know whether this is the type of person that you want to settle for emotionally, could make you a victim. And for the first time you are a victim, the second time you are a volunteer. Most of the time people suffer in relationship because they did not offer the person time, or they did not create an environment of test to really know the nature of the person they are dealing with. Every one of us, believe me, we all have fallen victim of some of these things. So why should you wait for you to be a victim so many times to learn, instead of just watching a video that can prepare you for your next relationship, or for the one that you are in already, or for the one that is already dilapidated that you can amend correctly? Believe me, it's not the desire of any one of us to be moving from one relationship to another, But that does not also give us the right or the tenacity to settle for the things that we don't desire. So the key is learn. Learn to apply wisdom to your heart. Most of your talks okay. AHAMD Ahmed. Okay. Let me just write this down. Somebody's asking a question. Dr. AHAMD. Excuse me, guy. You see, this person claims he's a doctor, but his way of approach does not represent a PhD holder. KAMDOURA. Alright guys, so as we were saying, the essence of establishing a true relationship can be narrowed down to test over time, because test revealed the character and the nature of a person, and time revealed the consistency in that nature and that character. Once again, if this is your first time here, we say thank you for watching. God bless you, and leave your comment below. Subscribe to this channel so that you can be a part of this community, and your comments will help us to know the type of video that we ought to bring to you. God bless you. It is my prayer that you will flourish and do well in your relationship. Thank you.